Well, hello everyone. You're very welcome to our school assembly today, and we are actually thinking in these early days, as we now enter the month of June, we're thinking about the days from the 1st of June onwards. And in the month of June, there are a large number of saints' days, days when we remember God's saints and all the good things that they did. So it's a good morning to you, and it's a good morning from Tommy. Hello there, everyone. Good to see you today. Yeah, Tommy's here to help me with our story today, because on the 9th day of June, we remember a very special Irish saint. And he has a number of different names, and some of you may know him by different names. So we're thinking about a saint called Saint Columba, or as some people call him in Irish, Columkill. Columkill means literally the dove of the church, and he gets his name for a particularly special reason, which we'll talk about now in a little while. Today we think about Columkill, or Saint Columba, who grew up in a place called Donegal and in an area known as Gartan. And as he grew up as a child, he began to realize that God was calling him to go and work for him each day. He was telling him to go and work for God each day. That's right, working for God each day, Tommy. And very soon he went to school in a close-by place from Gartan to a place called Kilmacrennan. And in the abbey in Kilmacrennan, he received his education. And eventually he became a person who was a leader in the church. And he decided he was going to serve God for the rest of his days. And not only was he a saint in Donegal, he was also a saint in Derry. And Derry, its long name in Irish, is Dura Columkilla. And that literally means Derry of Columkill. So Derry, or Londonderry as some people like to call it, it's a place of special connection with St. Columba. Was he ever there? Did he go to Derry? He did go to Derry, and he stayed there for some time. He also had a connection with another part of Ireland, somewhere that you and I would probably know in a different place. In County Meath, there is a town called Kells. And in the town of Kells, Columkill was involved with the church there as well. A church in Kells. In Meath, wow. So he had a long connection and a great connection with the church, both in Donegal, in Derry, in County Meath. But while he was there, something quite sad happened in his life. There was a disagreement, an argument, people giving out to one another, people who weren't getting their way, people who became a bit angry, because they weren't getting things done the way they wanted them done. Back in the times of Columkill, there were no printed books like you and I have today. So the only way you could create a book was by writing it by hand. Writing the book by hand, yeah. And some of the books that were written by hand were written by monks in church buildings, in scriptoriums as they were called. And one of the most famous books of all is a book that you and I know well in our country, and particularly in Dublin, and particularly where it is, in Trinity College, Dublin. It's called The Book of Kells. The Book of Kells! Is that the book from Kells? Kells book from Kells in Meath? That's right. The book from Kells in Meath. So a row broke out about who had the right to look after these books, to make these books. And eventually a war broke out between people. And many, many people were killed because of this argument they had about the writing down of God's words in the Gospels. When it was all over, and when many people had died, Columba was very sad, because he was one of the sides involved in the great battle that took place. And when he thought about all the people who had died, he decided he was going to leave Ireland as a sort of a punishment or a penance for himself for having got involved in something so destructive. So he went away to Britain, and particularly to Scotland. And he got well into Scotland, and then he decided he was going to go to somewhere very remote. He found a small island, and on that island he set up a church. And that island was called the island of Iona. The island of Iona. Oh, okay. But he didn't stop there. Many of those he trained to work in the church then went off to find new churches in Scotland and in the northern part of England, especially around a very special place in northern England called Lindisfarne. So this story really is a story that has many, many things to it. First of all, to remember Columba, who was a very famous saint from Ireland. To remember that he went to work for God, that he was involved in the church in Derry and in Kells, and that following a battle he decided to go and work on the island of Iona, and later those who followed him would bring the church and the teaching of Jesus to the north of England, to Lindisfarne and other places. So we remember St. Columba. We don't always remember, of course, the bad things in people's lives, but there were bad things there too. But it just shows that even in someone who has done something really wrong, God is prepared to forgive them and to give them a new start. A new start by God, yeah. And because of what he has done, the message of God spread throughout the world, and we thank God for all that he has done. The 9th day of June each year is St. Columba's Day, and very soon we will be celebrating that Saint's Day here again. St. Columba is known as what is known as a white saint. Remember, I told you the last day on the Feast of Pentecost that red is often the colour of a saint. It's often the colour of a saint who died or was put to death for what they believed in. Columba didn't actually die for that. He actually lived a long life, and in many ways he achieved so much by teaching others about Jesus and what Jesus had done. Thank you for listening so carefully to our assembly today. Hope you've learned a little bit about St. Columba. And now we're going to be quiet for a moment because we're going to say our prayer to God. Dear God, thank you for calling Columba to be your saint in the church. Thank you for helping him to forget the things he had done wrong and to work for the things that were good. Amen. Together we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the Lord bless you and keep you today and forever. Amen. Amen. Thank you for listening so carefully. Thank you to Tommy for helping me out again today. We hope to see you all again very soon. But until that time, take good care of yourselves and of your families. And hopefully we'll see you again before too long. Goodbye now.
Bye, see you later.